As you know, every month I post a video of me reacting to your PTF suggestions in the PTC Discord server, but I never really revealed what I would add to the game. So for today's video, we're gonna do that and give 10 things I would like to see in Power Training Flight Simulator. Now I'm gonna go ahead and split this video into 3 separate parts: planes, airports, and features. So chapters are rather for your own viewing pleasure, but with that out of the way, as my first one in PTFS, I'd request Orange and the devs to add the Lockheed L-1011, and it all falls on how unique it is. The fuselage is highlighted by the tail and its third engine, and for reference, we only have one plane with 3 engines, and that's the McDonnell Douglas MD-11. The L-1011 fits into a mode of a retroplane that we don't see a lot in PTFS, but has one aspect that is different from another plane in the game, which is always a good thing. And maybe with all those technological advancements Lockheed always bragged about, it may be a very, very underrated butter machine. Also, it's my third favorite plane of all time, behind the MD-90 and the FA-18. So hey, no bias, but yeah, it should be added. The V-22 Osprey is next on our list, and there's a lot to like about this guy. Probably the most well-known tilt-rotor aircraft, this bad boy can do it all. It can take off and land at short runways, and if there's a heliport, it can gain altitude like a helicopter, rotate its wings, and become a prop plane. It's all you can basically ask for. Now this fits a lot of checkmarks, including uniqueness, which as you can see will be a big key factor for all these plane suggestions. But with the addition of the F-35 and the VTOL crews it made, plus helicopters definitely needing another incentive for people to use them, this can be it. Now it'll be interesting on how the rotation of the wings would be, but as a suggestion and an idea, it's a dub. The next plane I want to see added to Power Training Flight Simulator is the Boeing 707. I've always stated in the PTF suggestion series, but there always has been a large gap between the 40s and 60s era planes, and the 707, of course the poster boy of the golden age of aviation, would fill that slot very nicely. On the 707 itself, it has a very unique tail, and the JT3C engine would be so cool for Orange to build, and the aircraft is so iconic, so obviously it should be a lock. Now I'm also going to go ahead and talk about this later, so I won't go into too much detail, but a retro with other things added would be such an amazing addition as a whole, and if this was the face of it, it's a banger. Ah yes, the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress, or what other would call it, the Buff, aka Big Ugly Fat Fella. Totally not using the other F. It may be ugly, it may be fat, but boy, it's a legendary plane. The B-52 has 8 engines on its massive wings and a very cool fuselage, and I'm telling you, this bomber is no joke. It also has a storied history spanning from the Korean War throughout the Cold War and still flying over 70 years later. And with this history, I think it's a huge mistake to ignore it, and would fit from a unique aircraft perspective, but also has a historical perspective, and would be an amazing addition to Power Training Flight Simulator. And finally, my last plane suggestion will be the Antonov AN-124. Now I've always said that we need more aircraft from the Eastern Hemisphere, whether it's Russian or Ukrainian or Chinese or whatever, but I really do think the AN-124 would be such a cool cargo plane for players to fly. The AN-124's massive fuselage with 4 engines but an overhead layout, which makes it very, very distinct from aircraft like the Boeing 747 and Airbus A380. It also carries freight, and it would definitely be better than using the bland 747 cargo, and gives another option for people to roleplay with. Also, I'm really trying to compromise between the highly suggested AN-225 and the constraints of Power Training Flight Simulator, and because the AN-225 was basically designed off the AN-124, I think it'll be way okay for those who wanted the other alternative. So with that, we are halfway through the 10 suggestions I want to see in PTFS, and what planes need is airports, so that'll be obviously our next suggestion in this video. Now this is honestly one of my favorite suggestions on this list. Well, obviously these are all sick, but this is the first time I've seen this suggestion in the PTC Discord server when I do all these research for the monthly suggestion videos, so this is basically original. I want to see a flying community airport in PTFS, and it'll be very, very interesting. Basically, a flying community or a residential airport is where you can land your plane and park right up to your front door. Now if I had to choose one specific flying airport to be added, I would add the Jambalaya Airport, of course home to John Travolta's 707, but any flying community, whether it's real or fake or whatever, would be such an amazing cool addition to the game. Otherwise, more GA airports obviously would be great, and who knows, maybe the novelty of a flying community would be very intriguing. For my medium-sized airport entry, I selected the dangerous Portuguese aerodrome, Madeira Airport. It's one of the world's more interesting places to land because of its runway that is extended by a bridge. Quite insane, I know. Including the high winds and the very short runway, it's one of the more extreme airports for pilots, and I think it will stand out for PTFS players. We've all seen how popular St. Bart's, Lucca, and Saba are with the community, which are basically airports that are quote-unquote dangerous and have a gem status in real-life aviation. Bringing another airport like Madeira to the mix would be such an amazing idea. Also, unlike the airports I mentioned, you can also spawn this 737 here, so hey, good luck with all these landings. And my final airport suggestion I would like to see in PTFS is Kai Tak Airport. You heard me right, Kai Tak heart attack, and it's for good reason too. When doing the checkerboard approach, you get 101% adrenaline, with you making more than a 45-degree turn and swerving around the densely populated city below you. Even after all of that, you still got water surrounding the sides and the end of the runway. So hey, Six Flags, I got your next theme park roller coaster right here. This approach is iconic, and I'm pretty sure 99% of you guys watching would want to attempt it. It'll be fun for landing times, fun for ATC 24, and it's challenging, especially with a crosswind, so have fun. It was even an old RAF base, RAF Kai Tak, which was important during World War II and got its very own flying club. If you hate the training century, this expansion would be cool. But with that, we completed the airport section of the video, so we have finished 8 of the 10 suggestions I have allotted myself. So let's go ahead and move to features or game mechanics I want to see in the game. The first feature I'm going to go ahead and talk about is retro liveries. And remember when I said this? Now I'm also going to go ahead and talk about this later, so I won't go into too much detail. Yeah, this is the one. You see, why not go all in on the retro theme? Besides, we already dipped our feet into it too because we got the old American Airlines and Turkish Airline livery on the MD-90. But think about it. You got the Pan Am and TWA 747s, Wow Air A320s, and with my out 1011 suggestion from earlier, Eastern Airlines. What about we bring the old United Tulip livery or the old Speedbird British Airways livery? And come on, the vibes would be immaculate and more roleplay options. And also, we really haven't received any new airline liveries in a while, so Orange, there's something to look at. And my final PTF suggestion I want to add to the game is aerial refueling. This new hypothetical feature would involve 2 planes, a tanker and a military jet refueling mid-air, and I think I have a rough idea on how it could work in PTFS. We could use something like the Finch system on the Coast Guard helicopters and instead have this fuel line connect to the plane via keybind. Then maybe a different fuel tank on the tanker moving fuel to the military jet as well. And as a topper on tankers itself, we can add variants of already existing planes to have this new feature. Aircraft like the A330, B-29, 767, and C-130 could be converted and would bring more substance to these planes. Oh, and it'd also be amazing for military roleplays, and knowing the added flares, carrier catapults, and more, I think this advancement would be a great addition to Pilot Training Flight Simulator. Well, there we go. Those are 10 things I would like to see in PTFS. This list was certainly hard to make, partly because I can think about 100 plus things that I would want to see to the game, and even things I don't want, I'll still be happy about. It's just hard to compile it to just 10. But obviously I would like to know what you would add to the game, but that's basically it. Guys, thanks for watching. I'm MrBullsFan, and as always, take flight. See ya!